Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on location today, not live today, with a couple of little pints.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Lee. You know, obviously it's the Christmas season. We're having a little bit of fun, a little bit of festivities. Hence the suit and
the beard transplant.
Lee's
jokes, by the
beard.
way. That's not a real. I haven't been to Turkey or anything like that. I've just got me just for menus. Just done it today, so I'm looking nice and clean. And the food has arrived just on time. Thank you very
Some
much.
lovely food for as well. That is excellent here. Lee's up first. Yes, it's obviously the Newcastle United Women's podcast once again. I'm going to be asking the questions and talking about the season as a whole, the games going by as Lee chomps down into his chips. Lee is going to be talking about the players, aren't you?
Yeah, so second half of this show, I'm going to be taking over. Joe's going to do obviously the fixtures as he says, but we're going to talk about who's impressed with so far this season, any new signings have impressed, any existing, is somewhere we need to strengthen. Do we see one or two, unfortunately, might head out the door? We'll talk about that in the second half.
That's going to be an interesting one to get onto. I mean, I'm very, very much looking forward to January and what's going to go on. But we digress. Obviously, as well, if you're listening back on audio, make sure to give with that 5 stars, please. We have got 2 cameras tonight as well. Look at that. Hey, fancy. We're not going to talk about the mishap that Lee may or may not have done where he didn't turn the camera on. But anyways,
it happens.
It happens. This is why we do dress rehearsals. Do you know what I mean? You know, we're professionals up in here. Look. Straight to business, top of the draw, and I think this one for me was the big tie to have a look at who was going to be the big dogs this season. London City Lionesses versus Newcastle United, and if you're looking as a neutral, it's the big money game, isn't it? It's the 2 clubs who've invested absolute tons into the teams. Yeah. How's it going to fare? Lee, you were down at London City as well, weren't you? I mean, look, we're hashed out a really, really hard-fought draw. I think from when I was watching at home, it was a really good display from a lot of new signings, like Lewis Joel, who came from London City Lionesses. She was their captain. And to go against a team like that, quite established in the Women's Championship, to pull a draw for me and to put on a strong performance when they were not a weak team, they were a strong performance as well.
Well, they're just signing an absolute world-class Asalani.
Yes. Unbelievable signing, and she really proved that on the day as well. She was the one who scored the equaliser.
Hales obviously getting on, scoring on her debut, so that was interesting, seeing some fresh faces. As I say, obviously London City Lionesses very much have an ambitious owner who owns Leon and one of the sides in America. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but she's ambitious. It's a club that doesn't have a parent men's club. A bit like Durham, so they're very ambitious, and obviously this was made out as the money spinner, if you call it, because Newcastle can attract the likes of Demi Stokes making her debut, of course, as well. But I have to say the performance was probably fair. Yeah. In all honesty, a draw was probably fair between the 2 sides that the league had an interesting eye on. So a good start away from home, a point on the board. I think Becky would probably think, do you know what, that's a good start.
Yeah. I would definitely think, and I was sat watching at home and I absolutely loved that one. And for me, if you go into that opening game, no matter who it's against, and you don't perform well, it's going to be a little bit troublesome for you going forward in the season. Now, obviously, starting strong like that as we did, it paid off in the next couple of games. I mean, the first couple of games, thank you very much, my man. And there are my cheesy chips. My garlic shea butter. Lovely, look at that.
Cheesy chips, what do you make them?
Cheesy chips, and I am partial to a little bit of cheesy chips every now and then, I must admit. No, I am not a mackin', I just, as well, look, melted cheese, proper cheese, not just drizzled on top like you would get over a mackin'.
Food review, isn't it?
That's it, I know, literally.
Yeah.
But my garlic bread looks a lot better than yours.
Mine looks a bit more burnt. I've got some nachos on them, which I'm going to share with the dog because he is down here.
Big Ferdinand's on scene, on location.
You might see him on shot, but it was a good point. London City Lionesses, and then obviously, how can you go then? When's your first win coming?
Exactly, that is always a question coming off that, especially off the back of the season that we just had, where we only lost was in the cup, in the Forest. You want to keep them winning ways, and a lot of fans are going to be critical. However, it didn't take long, did it? Because the next 2 games, going against Sheffield and Portsmouth, we end up bagging 6 points and 2 clean sheets. When you look at those games, for me, Sheffield, I thought that was going to be harder than it was.
I did as well.
I really was shocked at that first home game as well. Really good show for me.
Considering where those teams are now in the league.
Yeah.
We didn't know that at the time, did we? But a good, 3 points. You'll have to remind me who scored because my memory's like an absolute fish.
Lumsden and Hales.
Beth Lumsden and Shania Hales.
We'll be hearing them names a lot.
We might do as well. So winning 2-0 against Sheffield United at Kingston Park, good 4 points from the opening couple of games. Obviously, we're seeing now as the league is developing a few games that they're more or less hovering down the bottom of the table. However, going away to Portsmouth was a tricky one. Obviously, we played them in the cup last season at St James's Park. But that wasn't an easy game. I mean, we're dominant in terms of stats, if you want to call it that. And there wasn't a ton of Newcastle fans. Obviously, it's a mammoth trip.
Bottom end of the country.
Yeah, you're probably talking 50 Newcastle fans at best, but still a great effort by everyone to get down there. Good to see Amy Andrews score her first goal, because that's important for her. Because with a striker, it doesn't matter how you play, their numbers are always about goals. So she should have scored just before then, before she went in and scored. And then there was
a quid on the short score sheet as well.
She did. I think that was
Beautiful.
her best performance of the season so far on that game. I think even now.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll talk about her a little bit later. But she got on the score sheet and she was impressive in the previous opening away day, because she obviously pressed and won the ball back for Shania Hales to score against London City Lionesses. But look, 7 points from the opening three games. I remember doing a little bit of the match reaction for the Football Pink, talking about it and saying, do you know what, for a team that's just been promoted against well-established teams, to have to be sitting on 7 points after 3 games and 1 goal conceded, it's championship-esque title form.
It thrust straight into the top 3. I believe after 3 games we're sitting in the top 3 as well. And I was one who personally, I turned around and I didn't think we were going to be competing. I thought the first 3 games were going to be a lot harder, especially the Portsmouth game. However, it worked out quite well. And would you say that is the best start we could have asked for?
Oh, 100%. Because, as I say, the Portsmouth game, they've kind of been battered of most teams.
Yep.
They had a spell of about 15-20 minutes, but overall, Portsmouth game was easy. Like Sheffield United was comfortable. London City Lionesses as well was fair, but to be on 7 points, remember we had a game in hand on everybody, because obviously the Reading fixture was in the way, so we had a bit of a break as well, which didn't go down well for the league. Obviously Reading dropping out, which is a shame for them. But it's at that stage thinking, blooming hell, can we really? But in the back of my mind, I said at the start of the season, 5th, top 5 will be absolutely fantastic this season. But be on 7 points after 3 games, class, man.
It was unreal. Now we're gonna skip the League Cup games for now, and we're going to talk about them in a chunk a little bit later on. I want to go straight on to the next 2 big games in the league, which the next 2 big games were potentially, and in my eyes, one of them is our biggest game, home and away, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the derbies. Now, I don't know if everyone counts Durham as a derby. Personally, for me in the women's game, I currently am counting Durham as a derby. I think it's fair to say. So I had Durham first of all, and it was the first heartbreak, wasn't it, of the season, where we played a great game.
How we didn't score?
I don't understand it. Durham's keeper, phenomenal.
Yeah, she was absolutely player of the match, wasn't she?
Without doubt.
Pulling out saves left, right and centre, man. It was like, right, it's coming. It's going to come. We'll score. It's all right. We're going to come. We'll score all the time. But I think, realistically, reality hit home a little bit that game, because if you don't put your chances away, it will come back. It's that old saying, it'll come back and haunt you. And I think a lot of fans who are new to the women's game in the last year or 2 have only just seen Newcastle batter teams 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10-0, man.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, wait a minute, we've just more or less dominated the game. We've lost how we've lost that, and obviously we spoke to Becky afterwards, and it was like, it was deflating to concede so late, and Durham were giving it back to us, weren't they? They weren't giving us back, and I didn't enjoy that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Durham done something that I've noticed has been spoke about a lot through the season. It happened the same in the Charlton game. Is that Durham just piled the pressure on in the last 10 minutes, and they used that experience, and that they're a team who are absolute iron giants in the women's championship, and they've done their very best in the last 10 minutes going, right, let's just pile the pressure on. We've stopped Newcastle scoring, which is the big thing. Let's just go for it and we can get something here. And they did. It wasn't until the 89th minute that Lambert ends up going and putting one past her, and it was hard to take, wasn't it? Like walking away from our first derby.
Was that Diana's mistake?
Yes.
Because she got a lot of stick, didn't she, online afterwards and that. And obviously we'll talk about her, because I think she's been brilliant. But
Great.
She's got a lot of stick for that back pass that led to the goal.
Do you think that's fair?
Look, it's the same as Claudia. Claudia done better, but Claudia was absolutely fantastic the first 3 games. I think there could be a lot more to be prevented, but realistically, we're scored none. That's where the problem lied.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to make a mistake. Defenders obviously get caught out more often than not. I talked about Amy Andrews before. She missed a golden chance against Portsmouth, but that's not talked about because she went and scored.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
a defender, you're living on the line, aren't you, literally? But it was massively deflating. But I'm looking forward to the reverse game, put it that way, to
We need to
give it back a little bit.
Yeah, we do, and we will. I believe that we will because we're coming to better form, as we'll get on to. And then we'll go on to the big one, the Big Daddy tie. We'll drive a little way, just over to the wonderful stadium of. Let the comments fill that one in.
Even I got the metro for that.
I know, did you? Oh, so I got a lift over from Dave and Lorraine. Me, Emmy's one of Emmy's first big away games. She was excited. She was in full spirits. It was fantastic. We go over there and we played a blinder. It was a great performance. Not taking much away from Sunderland because Sunderland did play well. They ended up bringing one back. Final score 2-1. 3 points from with rivals. From the first competitive derby against Sunderland.
I think it was, for me, how many fans were there?
Yeah.
Yes, it helps us down the road, don't get me wrong. But that was like an away day, like
2,000? 2,000?
2.5, I think.
2.5?
Aye, for an away game, and it was class, and it was brilliant. A lot of people singing and enjoying it, and there wasn't that many idiots there, to be honest. Like, right at the start of the game, perhaps, and one of our fans wanted to sit with the Sunderland fan, which I found bizarre.
Yeah.
But apart from that, everybody was like well behaved, spot on, and it was probably with the women's game. You could probably, if the concourses were all open, you could probably mingle with one another. Men's game, you couldn't do that.
No.
But Bethel Lumsden just put herself doing this in folklore history, and we've had all the memes, and good memes, by the way, on the posters, and she's even had a war flags display after, and she's put herself doing in history. And I was a little bit disappointed with Sunderland, I can't lie to you, in terms of not giving us media access. That really annoyed me because I would have loved to be down there and hugging the lasses and hugging Becky, because we have that kind of relationship, we're fans, but we're media at the same time.
Yeah.
But they still see us as fans, and just seeing them and getting a chance to interview them and celebrate with them was really disappointing that we didn't have that. But on the other hand, Bethel Lumsden getting 2, and a first one is absolutely unreal. The way she took it down and cut it back and finished, and then she scored from a corner, which we've seen that for a few games where she's going back post and naturally gifted left and right foot. And then obviously you mentioned the second half, Sunderland did come naturally, they will come back a little bit towards the end, scored one right at the very end, near the end, sorry, thanks to was it Liv what?
Liv what?
But there was a bit of pressure. I think they had a chance right at the death. I'm sure it was a corner. It was a corner that came in, and then and we were like, thank God for that. And we knew as soon as that didn't go in, we won the game.
Yeah, it was a wondrous occasion. And I mean, you look at the stats as well on that one, and we were very evenly matched. Got them there in front there. The shots had the same shots on target. Possession, there wasn't much in that. It was a really hard fought game, and that's what you want from the derby, though, don't you?
You do, and if it was an advert, obviously Sunderland were going for the attendance record, which I was a tad disappointed because it was 15,000 apparently, but obviously we helped towards 2,500 of that. Very tight. When you expect it to be a derby, you don't normally batter a team in your local derby, do you? It's never a 5-0, 6-0. It's very rare that happens because a lot of the pride is on the line, and the scenes at the end when we got that full time was just brilliant. It felt like it felt like a men's game, the way they were coming over and taking it in, getting the team photo, the fans were involved, and the lasses were coming to some of the families and friends in the stands. And big shout out to Dave. He knows what I mean about that. You know what I mean.
Yes.
It was just a good feel factor, and then obviously we went to the stack, didn't we? Afterwards, everyone jumped back on the metro. I think you got a lift off Dave, didn't you? Went back and we had a pint and a pizza and what have you, and just a really good day, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Bragging rights, wasn't it?
It's a nice moment. Going away, everyone's happy. The kids were all together, all having fun at the stack and all that. Food, it was great. It was a great occasion. It was for the first derby. It couldn't have went down any better for us as Newcastle fans. So I was extremely happy about that, and I'm really looking forward to the reverse fixture when they come up here against us at St James's Park. Look out for that. It is going to be a fantastic occasion, and we need to make sure we beat the attendance record on that one. That one is the 23rd of March, 2025. 2 o'clock kickoff at St James's Park when we go back against Sunderland. Look out for that one. It's going to be phenomenal. And we'll move on to a one that created a lot of talking points. And I think this was, yeah, Durham, we had a lot of criticisms about whatever afterwards, but we're going to dust ourselves off and move on. But the one game that for me has probably hurt the most so far is Charlton.
How we just left, I don't know how.
Yeah.
3-1 up in the 93rd minute and you draw the game. Mad, innit? But I think the positive will come up with that though. Shania Hills.
Yes.
Probably should have had 4.
Yeah,
to be honest, because it went through as well. At pace. And Becky changed it. Remember, she went 2 up top. To change it for the first time. We were like, ooh, where they're playing? Yeah, that's 2 up top. And they couldn't cope because they made a change when one of their players went down. They made a tactical change and we didn't get his throws often.
Yeah.
So the Charlton manager obviously picked that up and noticed that. It's a fair play. But Shania Hales was just unplayable, man. She was put up front. And I think it was the first time she started up front, correct me if I'm wrong, like. And she was just paced. Oh, it was just sensational. So she's a massive positive to come out of that. Yeah, it was just dynamite, wasn't it? But as I say, the negatives obviously the way we just threw it away, 3-1 up, and I think set pieces in it, and I think Becky talked about it. We were conceding it would have been worked on afterwards because it was just 3-1, you're enjoying it, and then even at 3-2 though, that's only consolation.
Yeah, it's fine.
And have one more attack and score from it. It's like it was just you could hear a pin drop.
It was hard being in the stands at Kingston Park that day. It was I hate it. It was the day before my birthday as well, and I was gutted. It was what it was, though. It's one of those where it also set in a lot of reality for fans this season that, look, we're not going out there. We're not going to win every single game. There's going to be times, just like when you sat there watching any other game of football and something goes south, something doesn't go right. You can play the perfect game of football and 1 or 2 little mistakes and you're out the window and that's it, and you're drawn and you're walking away with a point. But it's better that we walk away with a point against, again, Iron Giants of the Championship, Charlton. You know, they've got Super League experience. They've got...
Weren't they like first, second at the time?
Yeah. They were league leaders. Sorry, they were league leaders, and we went out there and we dominated them for the better part of 90 minutes, didn't we?
Nachos, lovely.
Nachos. And nachos.
I mean, the dog will be sharing that. We'll the left hours.
Fantastic though, you know, we moved on from Charlton well, and I think we were able to pick our heads up a lot because we went from going against league leaders Charlton to then going against the next league leaders, who were probably the most dominant team so far in the league, in Birmingham City, and we thrashed them 2-0. Like, that was a one for me, that was a must win. Or
must win against Birmingham.
Yes, because
I wanted to see a reaction.
That's why it was must win for me. After losing the 3 points against Charlton and going down to Birmingham, making that whole big journey down, we needed to get a result. We needed something important. We needed to show dominance. We needed to be powerful. Obviously, in that game, once again, a name that keeps coming up, Shania Hales.
Yeah, Beth Lumsden on the left pulled it back. Great link-up play. And Shania Hales gets off to a good start. However, Birmingham battered her. I think after half an hour, it was Birmingham for good. I mean, you're probably talking good half an hour. No, probably 40 minutes. That was just I don't know how they didn't score because they hit the woodwork 3 times. Claudia Moores probably had her best game that day.
Yep.
Was loads of saves, loads of shots going wide, and it was like, and I was down there and shout out to Sam and Carl. They were there, but I was in the media for that one, and I think when we got that second goal, it was definitely against the winner play. In that second half, Izzy Sibley, I think it was Beth who had the shot and it would hit the bar and it came back and she put it in and it was like, I don't know, we've got that. I don't know, we didn't deserve that. But
We didn't.
The thing is, you hung in, and yes, the keeper was great, the defending was brilliant, but you need a bit of luck, and we got that as well. And I even interviewed Becky afterwards, and she admitted that. But you know what? To finally get the 3 points, and obviously had the Birmingham media next one, sometimes I forget where I am for a minute. So probably they'll not take too kindly to it, but to beat Birmingham City, who were flying at the time, 2-0, another clean sheet. The performance wasn't 100% there, but the result was like, wow, that's a hell of a result, that.
It's what we needed. And then almost having opposite in going down, and I was there for the Bristol City game. I believe you were tied up with the men's match at the time, weren't you?
Forest, aye.
Bristol City go ahead and beat with 2-0 in what I would probably say is our worst performance of the season to date. It wasn't impressive. It was a hard one to take. We were on the back foot and just didn't look like the Newcastle with character for majority of the game. There was certain points of the game where you could certainly pull and go, do you know what? People are trying, people are giving it the all. But on the day when it came down to it, it just wasn't our game against Bristol City, and we end up losing 2-0 even later on in the game, and it wasn't going to make much of a difference.
Do you know what's going to happen in with that? The one was disappointing. We defended really well. Oh, that's spicy. Against Birmingham City, but then Bristol City, the goal that we conceded were comical.
Yeah.
And the timings of them was just before, because when I was at Forest, went back home, did the editing, then rewatched the game. The defending was comical to concede literally on the stroke of half time, and then literally at the start of the second half.
Two of the worst times.
Claudia Moore should have saved that second goal for me.
Yeah.
The way she palms it straight back out to an attacker. Well, you were there, I mean, but it was just when I was looking back and I went, we're not in this game at all. We could be there for another 2 or 3 games. We wouldn't score again. It was just, what happened?
It was deflating. It was hard. I mean, like you say there, the time to concede the goals, right, literally on each side of half time, it's two of the worst times to concede a goal in the game of football, if you ask me. It was hard. It was hard to walk away from that one, but again, it goes back to the point of we are in the big ponds now. We're not winning every game. We're not going to dominate every game, and sometimes we're going to have off days. And when we have them off days, all it takes is for a team to capitalise. And Bristol did that. Fair play to them. I will always give that to them. We'll go ahead and then we'll draw against Southampton, which as of right now, that is our last league game. And
Mad.
It's weird. I mean, you look at the table from them league games and we're sitting 7th, 15 points. There is literally 5 points between us and the top of the table.
Yeah, and we've got a game in hand.
5 points with a game in hand.
I know. And Becky said that, didn't she, to her after the off the camera.
She said we need to focus on this because we're literally at the point where we're 4 points off the top. Now we are 5 points off the top. It is powerful to be where we are. This is our first time in the championship. Regardless of the couple of anomaly games, it's a great place to be, isn't it?
Yes, St James Park, which was good. Slight negative. I was a little bit disappointed with attendance.
Yeah.
I can't say that I wasn't. But it was interesting to see, without the help of the men's pushing them, what the club would actually get.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an eye-opener. So it was was it 10,500 or something?
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
But that was a tad disappointing, but interesting to see how the club would get, as I say. But I was worried, because it was Al Southampton again.
Yeah.
It was like, this is what's happening to the club here, what's happened to the side, because Bristol City were out dominating. Southampton were like killing them, especially was it Gregory from Aston Villa, the winger. Oh, she looked impressive or what? Obviously, they scored literally straight, they had a chance and scored straight from the off. You 1-0 doing, and I remember doing the live stream with Dale. It's like, we need to just stop this, just get ahead of the ball, and it was just all over the place. And even Katie Barker hit the woodwork towards the end of the first half, but
What a strike.
Southampton fully deserved to be 1-0 in front, 100%.
Yep. And it was Deanna Cooper who ends up making the...
Well, we didn't know who scored, did we?
No, we didn't at the
Like,
time. We didn't
celebrate.
care. It was literally in the dead seconds of the game. There is not much time left, and there was a scramble in the box, and it bounces off black and white shirt. That's all we know. And we're screaming. I was like, I think it's Cooper. I think it's Cooper. Someone else was like, I think it's this one. I was like, does it even matter? We've managed to bag a point from that game. Yes, it's not one you want to see, but sometimes that 1 point in the dead minutes of a game can feel better than a win sometimes, can't it?
They kept an unbeaten run.
Exactly.
In St James's.
Yeah.
We did put a bit of pressure on the last 20 minutes, a lot of substitutions. A little bit disappointing not to see Georgia Gibson get off and to play at St James's, but right to death, obviously we interviewed them both, Becky and Deanna was in good spirits naturally and get a point. It didn't feel like a draw because it felt like we've won the game, but reality is that I didn't think Newcastle were fully up to speed. The 2 games that worried me, Bristol City away and Southampton, had 1 point. I think we're fortunate enough to probably have the point.
Yeah.
In all honesty, from those 2 games. So that was a tad worrying. Then, as I say, it's mad to break with the league. Considering that was, when was that? You got that from the 17th of November, and then we don't play in the league until the 19th of January.
Obviously, that is down to the Blackburn game being postponed
But
because
it's still not good for women's football. It's a 2-month break.
You wonder how
It's basically like the men finishing the end of May and then going again right at the beginning of like the end of July or beginning of August. Mad.
It's weird, and you wonder how fatigue comes into the women's game so much and how repetitive injuries happen.
Momentum.
There's so many factors to that, and we need to improve. But obviously, that's not going to improve until more money's invested into the game, clubs are being saved, etc., etc. That's a whole other video. Let me know your comments in below about what you think about likes of Reading dropping out of the league, and teams need more investment to keep this league alive so that we don't have big 4 to 5 week winter breaks because it's.
I get the winter break. I agree with it, but not that long.
Not 5 weeks.
You go stale, don't you? And how do you get the momentum as a club? And and what happens like if you're on form, you want another game, don't you? The only thing that does help is helps with injuries because we do have some. Potsy, obviously Fernie, Bartle. Yeah, Cataldo's just come back, so good to see her come back.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps with that side. That's probably the benefit of it.
It is. Now, obviously, we've just had our first game. We all get to the Super League teams, don't worry. I will get to them. We've just had our first game in the FA Women's Cup. Yep, the FA Women's Cup, and it was another derby. Borough. Lee, how was it?
It was weird because me personally, I don't class Middlesbrough as a fierce derby. It's a soft derby.
Yes.
It's like you've got a family wedding and you've got a cousin that you never spoke to for years.
Yeah.
But they're there. But the family, that we all right.
My cousin.
But you're not close. It's like that. That's how I feel. But like Sunderland's like your wicked brother, your wicked sister, you hate growing up.
Yeah.
It's like that, isn't it? It's a different kind of derby. But what made it different is 7 of their 11 all play for Newcastle in the last 2 or 3 years. Some of them only just left literally a few months ago. All of them live in Newcastle. Every single one of them, all the Geordies. Even the manager's a Geordie.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a strange game. And obviously me and Dave Lorraine went to one previously, so we went and seen the whole game against Middlesbrough. And they were looking at like us, giving us 2 heads, looking like we've got 2 heads, because they know obviously we're Toon fans. Like, it was weird, because they had more Geordies in their side than we did.
It's weird, isn't it?
I don't think I'll ever say again. But yeah, there was a couple of stuff on the pitch, as you see in the little, Laura Wareham, the goalkeeper, just taking the making diving the ball and having a bit of banter with Katie Barker. I think even Grace Boyes did at one point as well. There was even a nasty challenge went in and all that, and it's banter and it's. But I think Newcastle just had to win that because that was a massive potential banana skin, wasn't it?
It was, because Borough, and I said this a lot going into the game, a lot of them players that have got they might have chips on the shoulder about. I don't think many of them would have, not in a major sense that it would hinder them at all. I think they're all very professional. But some of them might have had chips on the shoulder and might have wanted to prove to the club, you should have kept me. And that was a very good chance for them to do that. And if Borough were able to go out, imagine the uproar of Borough and the upset if Borough had actually went out and beat her. It would have been hard to take that one out, and I think it would have caused a lot of backlash for Becky if she hadn't lost it. But gladly,
we didn't.
But
as I said, it was.
Get rid of any stuff for you lads.
Cheers, mate.
And
Appreciate
obviously
it,
a win. 2-0, but as I say, it was that because we were dominant as Newcastle versus Newcastle B.
Yeah,
and obviously I know that the Middlesbrough Twitter admin has had a little bite at me once or twice for calling them that. And there was even a few that didn't even make it, like the likes of Kira Skelton and so on. Jane Holland didn't even get off the bench, so they could have had more. But yeah, it was a good win. A lot of WhatsApp messages were probably exchanged afterwards.
Oh, without doubt. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have all shared a couple of drinks afterwards as well.
It was interesting who we got in the FA Cup though, wasn't it?
Yes, very interesting, because it's went from having loads of similar players to now having potentially Forest. I am absolutely buzzing if it's Forest. It's either Forest or, and I keep forgetting because I'm that set on Burnley, isn't it? Yes, Forest and Burnley, and they play
5th of January.
Yep, 5th of January. That's going to be a very, very interesting one. I am rooting for Forest. I am a Forest fan because I want to see Naomi Bido. I want to see Bridget Galloway back up at the town, going against her and having a good test. I would love for Naomi to be fit. So
I just hope Bridget doesn't put one out.
That would be.
Because she's beaten Kingston Park a couple of times already.
Imagine. That would be interesting. Yeah, lovely to see. Look, so we dominate Middlesbrough. We'll go on, we'll have a great time. We've potentially got Forest or Burnley next, and then we'll go on to the biggest test we are looking at the Women's League Cup, and in true Newcastle fashion, Lee, we end up getting drawn into the group of death.
Yeah.
Almost shades of Champions League with the men, wasn't it? We haven't been in the Champions League for years. Boom, group of death with all the biggest teams. And once again, it happens. The only two big teams we really missed in our group was Chelsea and Man City.
Who had buys?
Like, they had buys, exactly, in Arsenal as well. Like, they were the three big teams that were missed. Other than that, we've got the next three biggest teams, which one of them is one of them biggest teams. Manchester United, Liverpool, and Everton.
Yeah, with the Everton one, it was intriguing how we get on, and what a performance first half.
Loved
man.
it.
Demi Stokes coming into a bit of run of form there.
Yep.
Because she started slow and then she was coming in, and then first half we were like, blooming hell. And you got to remember, it wasn't a fully strengthened Newcastle side ever. She did make some changes, with obviously the keepers being changed and that, and then
I made a statement in that game, and I turned around and I said, we made Everton look like the Championship club.
yeah, the first half we did.
Yeah,
and actually second half they brought all the big guns and got that more of the ball, and they obviously they deserve it. Look, again, going back to London City Lionesses, a point was fair, and obviously the penalties is a gamble, and look, it's a draw. We didn't get beat. It's a draw because the bonus point is just mental. But even afterwards, Becky went interviewed. She was in very good high spirits considering Shanaz it's a draw, and the rules to get through are very, very difficult in this competition. So it was a great point against the WSL side. Becky can put that on her CV and goes, the WSL side couldn't beat me today.
It's a massive bragging point. I'd certainly be bragging about it. I walked away that game going, look at what we did to a Super League team. We made them sweat. And then I turned around and as a fair few fans had said and went, Liverpool's the game we got to win against.
Did you?
How wrong we were. I genuinely believed it, mate. I believe Liverpool were a team who they're not exactly huge guns in the Women's Super League. They're not. They've had different forms. The run of form at that point wasn't the best, but my goodness, they humbled us, didn't they?
It was a bat run.
6-1.
I mean, they deserved to win with 6-1.
Yeah, they did.
Great for Amy to score. Yes, so she's got on to a couple of against big opposition scoring. Was it Amy who scored? It was Amy.
Yeah, Amy Andrews late in the game, but
obviously they had a chance right at the beginning. It was just pepper and goal after goal. You could just see the quality, the technique on the ball, the pace, the movement. There were levels above them, man. And I think everybody knew afterwards, like, we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way. Because Liverpool were only promoted a couple of years back, weren't they, with Rachel Furness in the side.
Yeah.
But big shout out to Rachel, Liverpool's keeper, that we spoke to as well, Rachel Laws. She was really nice afterwards as well. Obviously, she would have loved to play against Fernie, but both of them injured, unfortunately. But yeah, they battered with 6-1.
It was, and it is what it is. There's not a lot to go into that one. I know a lot of fans were like, we should have done this, we should have done that. But
it's going to put into we were out by then, really.
We already knew we were out because of the other results. It was fine. It was okay. I walked away from the Liverpool game sort of going, well, that's what you would expect from that gap. You would expect that, and it came. Everton was a bit of an anomaly, and we're done ourselves proud. And then, and this is the one I think everyone was looking at. I was looking very much forward to this game because 9 months ago, we went down to Leeds Sports Village and we got thrashed 5-0. I still remember the iconic image of when I interviewed Amber Stubbs, and there's Amber and me, and right in between were, all you can see behind is 5-0 to Manchester United. So it was important this game going forward to see what we could do, and honestly, I know a lot of people would look at the scoreline 5-3 to Manchester United and go, well, he has lost. I absolutely love the performance we put on. We were brilliant. And can we just talk about for a minute to zone in on something? Leah Cataldo scores an own goal, sadly enough, in the 9th minute. Brilliant press by Manchester United to pull it. But then Diana Cooper comes out with a phenomenal run. Where that came from, I don't know, but she just ploughed through the centre of midfield and banged that goal in the back of the net. Phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. I didn't think she had that in her locker. You would expect that from someone like Potsy to do that. But running through and just drilling the bottom corner. Brilliant. And on the official match highlights, all you can hear was us lot screaming in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, what a goal! What a goal! What a goal! What an epic goal! What an epic goal! We had right next door there for cameras and like, ooh. It was something we are fans. Say we forget where we are. Unbelievable hit. And obviously we fell behind, didn't we?
Yeah.
But fair play to Amy Andrews again for that goal, because she made that herself. And you hear me say it on our watch along. Why didn't you hit it? Why didn't you hit it there? And then she cuts back and just bends it left foot in the corner. I was like, oh, what a goal. And I'm going, oh, what a goal. Oh, what a goal. I'm jumping out, what a goal. You missed that, didn't you?
I did.
I go, what a goal, what a goal. And no, but we scored 3 beautiful goals. And our Man United went on and scored a few more. But the way we came back, there's another great strike by Lewis Joel right at the end. Oh, great finish.
Phenomenal.
And I said to you just off camera, before, that's my favourite away day.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
It was a dead rubber, more or less. Man United already knew that they were through by half time because bizarrely the Liverpool game kicked off an hour and a half. But the way we put the performance in, and again, we spoke to Becky afterwards, and yeah, she doesn't like losing, but she said, I'm sure she doesn't mind saying it off camera, and goes, we can still go for this league, you know. Yeah. It's very tight, the league, and everyone's beating everyone, so that's out the way now. We're never going to progress, let's be honest, but it's something to watch back and look at the 3 WSL sides, because Everton battered with 4-0 in pre-season.
Yeah. Yep.
So to play 3 WSL sides, she'll watch these tapes back towards the end of the season, I would imagine, reflect if we ever get a WSL side again, because that was much better. I know there's a lot of stuff about Skinner and Man United might want them out and whatever, but that was a great performance despite conceding 5. We scored 3 against the WSL side. So although we finished bottom of the group, which we should have, the positives are Everton didn't beat us. We put 3 past Man United. We scored against Liverpool. So we scored against every single one.
You know, we've done a job there, which is harder than what most people realise. I honestly, coming to that end of the half season, I'm impressed. Take away any sort of negatives that you have, which I don't think there's a whole lot to look at. I really don't. You can look at us in a position right now where we are 7th in the league, 5th from the top, which Becky has reiterated so much. We are really close. It's such a tight league. This is one of... Becky even says it in the interview with you and Dale, where she says this is the tightest she thinks she's seen the Championship League.
It's mental, isn't it? It's a bit like the men's Premier League at the minute.
It is. It's baffling. One game can change the whole league. One team can go end up being in the top 3, and one team can end up being in mid-table off one game. It's phenomenal. It's everyone's league to have right now, except Portsmouth. Sadly. But we are sitting there, as it just went 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur as well. It's one of those where we're sitting 7th, near the in a strong position in the middle of the table. We have bowed out of the League Cup in a respectable way, and we're through to the next round of the FA Women's Cup after a potential banana peel. I'm happy with where we are halfway through the season. I'm chuffed. Do I have criticisms? Probably so. But right now we've got to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is we are performing decent.
There's only one game, Joe, that we didn't in full 90 that we were out dominant. That's a Bristol City game.
Yeah.
Southampton, yes. Large spells, yes. But to be sitting just 5 points off the top with the game in hand at the halfway point. I mean, I said I'll be happy with the top 5, and I still would. But you just look at that table and think, what if? Could we? Could we improve in January? Could we bring a couple of signings in and, kick on from there? And I think if you had to score it, I'd probably score that an 8 out of 10 in the league form at the minute, just where we are, because we've just been promoted. We're playing against people who played professional football for years, and a lot of them have obviously dropped down as well. But you've got to say if you scored Becky so far in the squad, you have to say it's probably an 8 for me.
Do you know what it is? I would probably have to put it between a 7 and an 8. I would go for a nice 7 to 7.5. In a sense, I'm being very hypocritical because I said we would be finished about 7th. I think I quoted earlier in the season, before the season started, that we'd finish 7th. And we're sitting 7th. So I should be saying we're doing exactly as my expectations are. However, you know what I mean? I'm a fussy little person. So, I'm happy. Guys, let us know what you rate the season so far. I've got a feeling that might be a little bit of a controversial one. I feel like some people might be critical. I also feel like some people might be overly happy and think that we're world beaters right now after that. But let us know in the comments what your rating is so far for halfway through the season. Are we doing as you expected? Are we doing worse? Are we doing better? What do you call it? Let me know. And from that moment, I think it's time to pass the hot seat over to Lee. Don't worry, we're not switching seats. We can't be bothered with that. We're lazy enough.
We have been trying to munch me food doing this. I've got most of it. I'm going to give some of these to little Ferdinand. But I wanted to start off with some negatives, really.
All right, yeah.
And we'll spin it. The players that haven't played much, likes of Jodie Bartle.
Yep.
We've seen Becky Ferguson head out on loan, of course, as well. not Kira, Georgia Gibson, and Casey Elton as well. Probably not so much Jodie, because I imagine she'll be probably be gradually brought in. And obviously Leah Cataldo's only just come back as well, so naturally I think she'll play a lot. But what about the two, I know I said local lasses because Casey's not technically local, but lasses have been here a long time in Georgia and Casey. Are you worried about their futures? Because they're not playing a lot, are they?
I am, because I look at it in the sense of last season when we got to about the halfway point and you'd seen that Anna Soulsby hadn't played a lot. She hadn't been given many starts. She had a couple of substitutions. And at that point, she'd probably had more than what Casey and Georgia have had this season so
I've
far.
got Grace Donnelly in there as well.
Yeah, and Grace as well. I think we could probably accept that Grace might be edging our way out. We've seen she's done a lot about like coaching younger kids. I think she might be looking at like, right, what's my next step in my career if I'm not going to be at Newcastle, which is fine. I would be absolutely devastated to see all three of them. I was going to try and pick Grace out, but it's all three of them. If Grace Donnelly, Casey Elson and Georgia ever leave the toon, I'm devastated. Hopefully it doesn't come to that in the right reasons. And then again, you go on the whole thing of progression. Do you want to progress more? Do you want to... Sometimes you have to make them heartbreaking decisions. But yeah, it does worry me. And what worries me the most is when we've seen Casey come on, Casey, she hasn't been bad. She hasn't,
but I think she's got a lot of competition, hasn't she?
Yes,
that's the issue, because predominantly she was left winger, but she's got Katie Barker and Beth Lumptons went over there now, and even Shania at the start of the season was playing there. So maybe the right wing is probably the one that we'll look at, but because she was an impact player in the second half of last season, I am a bit worried about her future, because even last season, she was towards the second half of the season, she was an impact player and she got crucial goals.
Yeah.
To help her get promoted. I think Grace, for me, I think she'll stay with us to the end of the season and make a decision then.
Yeah.
Jodie, I think, will be... I think Jodie, just a presence off the pitch, and Jodie Bar, oh, and all of that. And even I've started doing that with her now.
She started that as well. That's what I find brilliant. She was the one who started the John Cena thing.
I think she's good to be around the pitch as well, for the experience, and I think she will be slowly... I say slowly, but then again, we haven't got a game for a while. You can even say about the injuries to Potty and all that, they'll play him. But I'm worried about Casey. I think Georgia might stay up to towards the end of the season, the decision made on her. I think it was the right decision to have Becky Ferguson go out on loan.
Yeah, agreed.
I think she's talented. And obviously Daisy Burt as well. But signings, which ones have impressed you?
I'm going to go straight away, and I've even said this just in case anyone might wonder and go, oh, I bet you wouldn't say that. I've actually said this to the player, Demi Stokes.
Yeah, because you were quite critical, weren't you?
I was very critical when Demi Stokes first came in. I just didn't see her being... She was good in the AC Milan pre-season friendly. And then after that, the first few games, I was like, she seems slow. She doesn't seem like she's got the legs. She's, she doesn't seem the player that she was. Like, and I tell you, after them first couple of games, I think it was the Portsmouth game where she really impressed us. And from that moment, Demi Stokes, and maybe it's just been a matter of that she hasn't had enough play time before coming to us.
I think she's good in the Everton game as well when she scored as well.
Brilliant in the Everton game. That's possibly her best game for us. I think Demi Stokes is possibly our best signing so far.
Claudia?
It's up there with Claudia. That's why I said possibly. Because
she's done a couple of mistakes, granted.
Yes.
One game after another. But overall, has she improved the goalkeeping at Newcastle?
But here's the thing that I've got to say about Demi, why probably Demi gets it for me out of all the signings being the best one so far is, when something goes wrong, what do you see Demi doing? She's running around. Rallying the troops.
Fighting, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it proves, because Amber's the captain, and when Amber's not on the pitch, you don't miss it. You don't miss Amber's captaincy on the pitch, you don't miss her leadership, because Demi takes it over and Demi hits that leadership.
Well, you need a few captains.
You do. Yeah. And I think Demi's been a great leader, and the leadership and that she's got is such an asset. So I would probably put her as my best of the new signings so far. But it is hard, and it's mainly hard because of Claudia Moan and Shania Hills.
Diana Cooper. She's been brilliant for the last few games since she's come back into the side. She's done that mistake. I think she had a bit of a knock, came back in.
Yep.
Scored obviously a couple of goals as we've talked about earlier. I thought she's been brilliant as well.
Oh, she has. And what impressed me the most about Diana Cooper is, like, as of the last few games, especially like in the Manchester United game, she started making a lot more driving runs up through the pitch, and I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute, Diana, whoa, where you gone?
She's been learning off Potty, and
she's been listening to Potty. Now, there's one I want to bring up to people and let us know about this. Is Potty and Diana Cooper, is that a Lampard-Gerrard situation where Solo, great. But when they're together, that seems to be when a mistake comes.
Spurs are 3-0 up. I am listening. No, I think they can work. I do think they can work. We've seen a lot of people drop back at the centre back this season. I think it needs to be nailed on for me.
Yeah.
You have your first choice, instead of having plenty of midfield. Don't get me wrong, they do good jobs dropping into the midfielders. We've seen Fernie play there, Hannah Greenwood play there, Amber play there. I think it needs to be nailed on for me.
Yeah.
You might have that might be Jodie Bartle, who might give them competition like the centre back. What about the others? In terms of Amy Andrews, she started really well. A little bit of criticism from the fans where she only scored 1 in 8, but she scored a couple more back. Sophie Hayward as well. She's more of an impact player. She's injured at the minute. How do you assess those two?
Hayward, she has been a one who, for me, when I seen Hayward get signed and you looked at her stats and you couldn't see a lot about Hayward, and I was like, okay, it's possibly going to be a player who is going to grow into being a very, very, very good form, and she's a signing for the future. However, Hayward very quickly has become a power player. She always makes an impact. As soon as Hayward is on the pitch, she reminds us of almost like Alicia Body when Alicia Body came in. Yes, Alicia Body might not always have had her best game when she first came in. It's the same with Hayward. But when she walks onto that pitch and makes an impact, either she's putting the tackles in, she's positioned in the right places, she's making the right runs, she's putting the pressure on where she needs to. She is great, Hayward, much better than I expected. Amy Andrews.
She's no good on the right.
Effort.
She's no good on the right. She's much better for the middle.
Through the middle, all day long. Effort. No one can fault her effort. And I'm sorry, but I will die on that hill. If anyone wants to fault Amy Andrews' effort or try and say that she doesn't work hard enough, that is wrong. She is one of the hardest workers. She's always pushing. She's always... Maybe sometimes even she works too hard when she's trying to run back and help the team. And I will respect that and hold that very admirable, because one of the big things that you see most often in centre forwards is they're not hard workers. They wait for the ball drop to the feet. And maybe that's what Amy Andrews needs to do more. Let herself sit up the top to get them balls pinged over to her for her to finish them off, because she has talent there. She is brilliant. Yes, she's had a slight bit of a drought. I get that. She's had a few moments where you think, wow, I want more. You agreed. I will not deny that. But I think that effort is something you need to look at, and that all it takes is for her to score 1 or 2 goals back-to-back in a couple of games, and all of a sudden she's a wonder striker, and everyone's opinion's going to change on her. So I'm not impressed by Andrews yet, but I think there's something there for her to be
more
very
work
impressive.
second half of the season. I think we will see it.
Chemistry, look at that when you're playing your FIFA Ultimate teams and you've got a player who's just not fitting. Why? Chemistry, you need to move something about, you need to get it fitting. That's all it is. Give it time.
I think Rachel Ferns has been a little bit unfortunate with that injury because it looks more serious than what we initially thought.
Yeah.
Centre midfielder, and then we were like, whoa, what's she doing in centre back? But she didn't look out of place. No. Lewis Joel, for me, she needs to nail on a position.
Yeah.
Even we interviewed Becky, Dale asked that question about, and she said she needs a little bit more quality from her. She wants to see it more on a consistent basis. But one player we have missed out, Shania Hales.
Shania Hales.
She's our top scorer, and the criticism is that she seems like she powers out after an hour. So it's like a dual cell battery. It's just run out of steam. But as long as she does the graft, she's put a performance in. Does she need to last games longer? Or can she preserve her energy? But she's a top scorer. Do you know what I mean? And I think she's second or third in the league. I think
she's third. Stat Walby in the comments, correct with. Or Causey.
Where's her best position?
Centre forward. I do. I think she is a great, but more of like how Isak plays. Sits outside the box, doesn't wait. That's where I think the thing is. I think Amy Andrews needs to be that centre forward who sits up top and waits for the ball. Feed me more. Little shot right back. Yeah. And then I think Shania Hales is almost like and people are going to shoot us down for this, but Hales is like an Isak. She's like a Ronaldinho. She sits on the edge of the box. She annoys the life out of the defenders because her presence is enough. You know she's dangerous. She's sat just a few feet away from you. You're watching her, and all of a sudden the ball's at someone else. Oh no, so you run to them, and the ball's pinged back to Shania Hales, and she does a little bit of flay and finishes it. I think the fact that she can't last 90 minutes, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think this is something in football that people need to realise happens. Some players can only do 60, 70 minutes, but it's what they do in that 60, 70 minutes that matters. And Shania Hales has proven time and time again, just go and look at her stats. Don't even need to look at what she does on the pitch. Go and look at her stats and they'll prove you all wrong. She's a phenomenal player, and I think to be playing her in more of a that centre forward role, yeah, definitely.
I was surprised. I didn't expect her to have that kind of impact, what she has. I'll be honest, I thought she might be a squad player when she came in, which has totally changed my mind. Unless she's gotten off to a good start and starting to score some goals, bagging a hat-trick at pace is just frightening. It's incredible. So really, really good from some of our signings. And we'll talk a little bit where we need to strengthen in a moment, but out the existing members, who's player of the season up to date? I'm going to say it's Beth Lumsden. And for me, I think she is just technically gone up another level. When she was first signed, I thought it was really harsh on Tyler Dodds. I thought, nah, I didn't agree with that. Because Tyler Dodds was getting assist after assist. But now, after having 6 months at the club, and now I can start seeing why she's just left foot. You don't know which foot she's left or right footed. And there's some men's footballers who are shocking with the feet. She's not. She's started on the right, she's moved to the left, she creates, she can go past players, she tracks back. For me, she's player of the season. If we did one now, I'll go, do you know what? There it is. There it is
Beth.
for me. Who's yours?
Amber Stobbs. And now I was going to go to the point because I think a lot of people are going to say it's Amber Stobbs. I was going to say, can we pull Amber Stobbs out of the equation just to try and give a bit more of a horizon? But with you saying Beth, I think you've got a great argument there for your two best players of the season so far are Amber Stobbs and Beth Lumsden. Look, when Amber's in the middle of that pitch for us at the moment and she's doing what she does, she can go forward, she can go back. I think right now Amber Stobbs is playing the best football that she's played in black and white. She had a great season last season as well. So to turn around and say she's playing better this season, I wouldn't have believed it. She is amazing at the leadership. She is amazing at playing the ball into the right places. She's amazing at putting herself into the right positions. Be that, and this is what I love about Amber Stobbs, her versatility is something to wonder at because she can play centre-back, she can play left midfield, she can play right midfield, she can play centre-mid. Hell, you're starting to see her go attacking midfield a lot of the time now and pushing balls
Mad how
forward.
she drives the squad forward.
She's one of those players who...
Dale's a big fan of her as well.
Oh, I'm not surprised. And she moves the play. When Amber runs up, the team moves up. When Amber moves back, the team moves back. She is the anchor. I'm glad it stopped because I've just thought of that word. Amber Stobbs, for me, is the player of the season so far because she is the anchor of that team. What Amber says, the team does. And I get it. What I said earlier about Demi, you don't lose that leadership when Amber goes off the pitch and Demi holds up that leadership. Yes, but Demi does not hold up the anchor.
Yeah.
Amber does.
Izzy Sibley, just quickly, briefly mention on her. I'll throw that.
Who?
I've got a.
Isabel Sibley. Who's that?
Aye. For me, she needs to the second half of the season to nail that right wing as hers. Otherwise, I don't think that move will be made permanent. I think she'd be Brighton's parts, but a bit more aggression from her.
Yeah.
Let's try and get her nailed down. Otherwise, I think she won't be kept on. Obviously, Jazz McQuaid, I want to mention Alicia Body getting the under-21 call-ups. Absolutely fantastic. We're trying to speed up a little bit as well. So, yeah, they were absolutely brilliant, especially Alicia. Shame about her injury. Again, it's probably coming at a good time, which we've touched upon in Jazz. Although she didn't play, great to see the two youngsters. We had a discussion a few games back about who would be calling up the England senior team first, so that's on one of our vlogs. But a couple of last questions then. Where do we need to strengthen?
It's a hard one, but I think personally we need when the injuries are in, with defence, we've got the competition there. With midfield, it looks like maybe we're lacking on the right side. We might need to bring in another right winger. Just if Beth Lumsden gets injured, you know, you are a bit worried because then you're just relying on Isabel Sibley, which again, if she nails down that park, great. Overall, for me, I would like to see a different type of striker come in as well.
Then what? Maybe move. But then again, if you can put Shania back to the left and move Beth back
it gives
to the
them
right,
more options. If you can bring a third striker in, someone who can do something different to what Amy and what Amy and Shania can do, you can then start to move people about a bit. You can even have two up front with Shania on, have like all three were striking forces on the pitch at the same time, which could end up resulting in
Katie Barker could be moved in as well.
Could be moved in. I think for me, primarily, it's getting a striker in and
Me's a right winger.
Let's
get a proper.
We need a dedicated right winger.
Right winger.
Yeah, because Beth's versatile. She can go a few different places.
And
you can move her around.
For me, I would like another centre back, just for like a proper centre back. Yes, it's all right. I'd agree with. Yes, it's all right. Amber dropping back at Fernie, but let's have Cooper. Maybe even Liv Watt. Potentially, let's have four.
Yeah.
But I also think a right back.
Do you know what it is? Do you know, right, there was something I've just totally missed out on. No, I said it a little while ago, because I know everyone talks about this right back thing. And a few people are like, oh, Olivia Watt's better as a left back, and that's where she's meant to be. Olivia Watt's a right back. Go look at last season. I'm sorry, but she is. What we're missing, Last season, you had Naomi Bideau and you had Jodie Bartle rotating in that left back position. I want a left back.
Yeah, and then you had Leah Cataldo come in and didn't he, eventually?
Yeah.
Well, Leah Cataldo is naturally right-footed, so that could be the problem now. She's come back from injury, but if she's going to play on the left, I would like to say right back, but predominantly me, it's similar to men and women. Let's go and get that right winger.
Yeah.
Any unsung heroes before we wrap up?
Yes, Hannah Greenwood.
Stubbs, obviously, yes, you've touched upon her.
Touched by Stubbs. Unsung hero. No, do you know what it is? There's one person I'm going to put as the unsung hero, and it's not for on the pitch. It's for off the pitch. And that's Rachel Furness. Because Jodie Bartle, understandably so, hasn't been quite as interactive with the fans because she's been focused on her injury and coming back. Rachel Furness's outreach to the fans and the way she's came in and gelled a lot of these players together, the experience that she's given to these players. At Bristol, I had and I hope Rachel doesn't get in trouble for this from Becky, but Rachel's literally sat in with the crowd and she's shouting down instructions to Livia Watt on the right.
Yeah.
And she's getting involved and she's
Livia!
yeah,
Get tight,
Liv,
man!
Liv, watch, you've got two on you. Liv, watch, you've got
Joey
two.
accent.
Liv,
Yeah,
watch,
what you doing?
drop your shoulder, drop your shoulder. And I think that goes a hell of a long way, not just for the players, but for the fans as well. So my personal unsung hero at the minute from the squad is Rachel Furness. Fernie, you're a belter.
Love Fernie, loved her. We knew that she was signing for Newcastle when I was inboxing her. Yeah, they've scored again. But yeah, we're coming towards the end now, everybody. We're going to finish off with Pints. Do you want to come up? Want to say hello? Come on.
Nando!
There he is. The little man. There he is.
Big
You
dog.
probably haven't seen him all vlog/podcast, whatever we're calling this video. But we'll get him down. Go on. Get him. Go on. All right. But I hope you've enjoyed that. We're going to be doing another one. We're going to get Dave and Lorraine. Hi. We're going to do our favourite starting 11. We'll all... Oh my God, Man United scored again. No, they haven't. Oh, it's 3-2. Ignore me. Fraser Forster start doing another error. Sorry, we are getting captured by this game because it affects the men's. We could get one of these. But anyways, apologies about that. Yeah, you know what to do. 5-star if you're watching this. Like the video. That massively helped as well. And yes, it's the big break for the lasses, but we'll do another one. As I say, we're meeting Dave and Lorraine. We'll put that out in a couple of weeks' time for you. But that's it from me and Joe. Loved it. You don't have anything in there anymore, but cheers anyway.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have a good Christmas. Enjoy it. Hope the fat man's good to you.
Ta-da.